to the video on setting up users, groups, and policies. Okay, so to set up users, groups, and policies, we're back on our domain controller. And the first thing we want to do, we want to go to Tools. So it's right beside the Manage tab that we used before when we installed Active Directory and our certificate services. And we'll select drop down on Tools. And what we're looking for is Active Directory users and computers. So we'll select that one. And from this window, what we want to do is select eCore Local. We can even do the drop down and come down and highlight users. So this is our domain, and these are all the pre-built users. But if you notice, what Windows does is they automatically combine the users and the groups together. So if we sorted by type, you see most of these are groups, and there's just a couple pre-built users. So what we're going to do is go back to eCore Local, right-click, and then select New, and we want Organizational Unit. And once you've done that, we can name it. And what we're going to do is name this Groups. Basically, just for some housekeeping purposes, what this will do is separate the users in groups so that when we look on it, when we look into it, it'll just make more sense. So we'll go back to users. Since we've already sorted by type, I'm just going to highlight all the groups, and I'm going to drag them to the groups folder. And now under users, we just have those two pre-built users. Now that we've done that, we want to create some new users. And the easiest way to do it is just to right click and then select copy. And this will basically allow us to create a new user with those same attributes as that administrator. So keeping with our Mr. Robot theme, this user will be Tyrell, last name Wellick. And for the user login, basically what eCore is doing is the first initial last name for the logins. And then we can select next. We want to set up the password, and we're going to select password never expires. Obviously in an enterprise network, you'll want to change that, but just to keep the lab simple. Then we'll select next. And then we can select finish. So now you see we have a user named Tyrell Wellick. Now we're going to create another user. So we go to administrator, right click, select type. And this is going to be a SQL service account. And this will be something that we can attack later in the course, but we want to go ahead and set up this account now. So basically this is a SQL service account. We'll select next. Now we're going to give it a very easily crackable uppercase my, my, and then lowercase password. The numbers 1, 2, 3 with the pound sign. So this is a pretty easy password to crack. However, it does meet most password requirements. We have the uppercase my, lowercase password, then we have numbers 1, 2, 3, and the pound sign. Once we've done that, we go ahead and select next. We see that course or that user was created, and then we select finish. Now what we want to do is go back to that SQL Service account, right click, select properties, and then in the field description, Now, this is not sound practice at all, but we'll just type in the password is my password 123 pound. Obviously, this is not ideal, but this has been known to happen in the past. And then we'll just select OK. So now that we've done that, we want to just create a couple regular users. So anywhere in this white space in this field, we can right click, select new, and we are creating a user. So for the first name, again, sticking with the Mr. Robot theme, first name is Philip. The last name is Price. And we're using the eCore user account policy of just the first initial and then the last name. We'll select next. And we want to create a password that never expires. And then we confirm that password. Now you can name it anything, just give it a different password than other users, because when we get into like password cracking, we don't want to make it too easy for ourselves. And then select next and then select finish. We want to create another regular user, so we'll right click in that field again, new, and we go down to user. And this one, first name will be Terry, last name Colby. And again, using that policy from eCore, we're just, the username is first initial, last name, and then we select next. We do not want the user to change the password when next time he logs in, and we want to select password never expires. And again, give it a slightly different password or a completely different password. You still want the same password for Terry Colby as you do for Philip Price. And then we select next. And then we can finish. So far we've created 3 new users. Tyrell Wellick, actually 4 if you count the SQL Service account, and then Philip Price and Terry Colby. So this completes setting up the users. What we want to do now is to set up a file share. So if you go over to File and Storage Services, we can click that. What we want to do is highlight Shares. And then from the task up in the middle of the page, hit the drop down, and we want to select New Share. And we want to make sure that SMB Quick is selected, and then select Next. Then we can go ahead and select Next. Now we want to give it a name. So what we're going to name this share is Steel Mountain, no space, see if I spell it correctly, STEELMONTAN. And then we want to hit Next. We want to keep this Allow Caching of Shares selected, and we can select Next. And these are just the permissions. We're just going to go ahead and select Next. And then we're ready to create. We see that it's completed, so we can select Close. That completes that. So now we'll finish setting up that service principal name, which was that SQL Service account that we created in the user section. So what we need to do is open up a command prompt as administrator. So we just come down to search, we'll type in CMD, and you can either choose run as administrator on this right side, or you could right click and select run as administrator there. Once you've done that, in the walkthrough, there's a simple command that we want to run, and that is set SPN, that is service principal name, and -t ecore.logo, which is the domain, and -q and */*. And once you run that, we can see that the service principal name is found, so it is created. So what we want to do at that point, we're pretty much done with that part, and we're going to set up some group policy. So we'll just go ahead and close the command terminal. Now we're going to set up the group policy. Probably the easiest way to do that is go down in the search and just start typing in group policy, and we get the group policy management. So let's go ahead, we'll run that as administrator. And we should be looking at the group policy management dashboard. And from there, what we want to do is hit the drop down for the forest, which is ecore local. Okay, then under domains, we'll do the drop down. We'll select ecore local. We want to right click and create a GPO in this domain, and we want to link it here. Now we'll want to go ahead and name that GPO. We're going to name it Disable Windows Defender. And then we're going to select OK. Drop down. And when we look here at our group policy, we see the Disable Windows Defender. We can select that. And then we want to right click it, and we want to edit. Now at this point, what we want to do is under the drop down for computer configuration, we want to select policies to that drop down, and then administrative templates. From there, we want to come down one more to Windows components. And then we want to find Microsoft Defender Antivirus. And we'll hit the drop down and highlight that. And from there, what we want to do is double click turn off Windows Antivirus. So we start to scroll down, we see turn off Microsoft Defender Antivirus. So we'll double click that. And we want to then select enabled. Now this is a little confusing. What we're doing is we are not enabling Microsoft Defender Antivirus. What we're doing is enabling a policy that turns off Microsoft Defender Antivirus. So once we've done that, we can select OK. And that brings us, and then we can just close the group policy management editor. Okay, at that point, what we want to do is come back under domains, ecore local, and we find the disable Windows Defender. We want to right click it and then select enforced. And once we've done that, we can just close that out. Okay, just to review what we did real quick, we set up some new users, we set up a network share, we set up a service principal name, and we set up some new policies. And we also sort of separated the groups from the users. So we set up a new groups folder in our Active Directory. And that really completes what we wanted to do in this section. And in the next video, we're going to do domain joining.